Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're glad to have you for the Altadena Palisades Sewer Service webinar for the Consolidated Sewer Maintenance District. I'm here on behalf of LA County Public Works with Jonathan Gonzalez and Mei Hong. Jonathan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course, of course. Hey, hi everybody. I'm Jonathan Gonzalez. I'm an associate civil engineer here at LA County Public Works' Sewer Maintenance Division, and I'm here with my colleague May as well. May?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mei Hong, and I am with LA County Public Works. Thank you, Jonathan, for introducing me.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you both. We'll just move forward through the presentation now. So here are the webinar details that you can reference. We've got a Q&A box at the bottom, so if you go to the bottom ribbon of your screen and you hover over it, there's a Q&A box with a question mark. When you click on that, a pop-up will come up and you can enter your question in. We'll answer them at the end of the presentation, but please don't hesitate to enter them in as we go through the slides, in case you have any questions as we go. We also have a chat box where you can enter in any questions that you have about any technical issues or any concerns about what audio or other issues that you're experiencing. This meeting is being recorded for your convenience and it will be posted online at a later date. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Jonathan, and Jonathan, you can go over the agenda and some items from the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, as I stated before, I'm Jonathan. I'm here with Public Works. Just going to go over this agenda. Thank you for everyone for attending this webinar this morning. Going to talk about a few things here. The first being our Consolidated Sewer Maintenance District, which we call CSMD. The services, what it is, what services we provide. We'll also talk about our direct assessment fire relief, the proposed sewer rate increases, a timeline and outreach, and then there would be an opportunity at the very end for Q&A. Next slide, please. So the Consolidated Sewer Maintenance District, what is it? It encompasses over 500,000 parcels. It's made up of over 2 million people who CSMD serves. There are over 38 member cities and county unincorporated areas. CSMD maintains over 4,600 miles of sanitary sewers. Roughly, that's like the distance from flying here to New York and back twice. Put that into perspective. We have over 87 pump stations and we maintain 4 wastewater treatment plants. Next slide, please. Public Works provides sewer maintenance services in the region with a few goals in mind. I'm going to name a few. The first being protecting public health. The second goal is protecting the environment. And the last is keeping our communities safe. A mantra that we like to say here in house is a well maintained sewer system is vital for a clean environment and a healthy, thriving community. And it also promotes sustainability and economic growth. Next slide, please. CSMD services, they're broken up into 3 distinct categories. The first being our preventative maintenance, the second, our 24-hour emergency response, and the third being condition assessment. For preventative maintenance, what those services include, those are responses to odors, noisy manholes, insects, things of that nature. That also involves sewer manhole inspections, which usually happen about 2 times per year. That's our goal. We inspect every manhole twice a year. That also involves operation, inspection, and maintenance of our pump stations. Our CCTV, which is our closed circuit television inspection. So we CCTV our lines to look for cracks, deformations, any damage, and then once found, we'll go ahead and initiate a repair. As well as compliance with our regulatory requirements. That's mainly for our wastewater treatment plants. We have to treat our waste to the standards set by the Regional Water Board, state agency. And our sewer saddle installations. That's, let's say if you're a new homeowner or you're building a home and you want to connect to our sewer line, there's a requirement to get a permit for that, and we are involved in assisting for those purposes. We also have our 24-hour emergency response. What that means is that's responding to sanitary sewer stoppages. That's like an overflow. If there's like a sewer overflow, we respond to those. And in general, we respond usually within the first business day. If the spill occurs over the weekend, there may be a slight delay in that where the response might be that following Monday. But for the most part, our crews respond almost immediately to a spill once reported. Any pump station malfunctions, if there's issues with the pumps themselves, we've had that happen from time to time. Our crews will respond, they'll repair and replace the pumps as necessary. And our last being our condition assessment and repair/slash rehabilitation. What that means is our plan reviews for our maintenance needs. That also involves the CCTV condition assessment program as well. A private contract, new sewer acceptance reviews, and our sewer line and pump stations repair rehabilitations. Lastly, we have our GIS mapping. So anytime there's a new section of sewer lines that are annexed or adopted or taken into CSMD, we want to make sure that we have them on our GIS databases. So our crews and our office personnel can reference those specific locations. Next slide, please. This slide shows the areas of Altadena where the CSMD service is, and the areas that CSMD serves, so to speak. And this encompasses over 13,172 parcels. The service area is shown in yellow. Next slide, please. So this is that same map as the previous, but we superimposed the Eaton Fire perimeter. As you can see here, roughly 5,700 parcels were affected by the Eaton Fire within the CSMD service area for Altadena. Next slide, please. Similarly, this is the CSMD service area for the Palisades region. It encompasses a much smaller 411 parcels. You can see that service area here in yellow. Next slide. Similarly to the last fire, we superimposed the Palisades fire perimeter onto our CSMD service area for Palisades. And you can see here all 411 parcels were affected by the fire in January, earlier this year. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Here we go. Why are the rate increases necessary? This is the most important question, the reason why we're here today. Sewer service rates have not increased since 2014. The proposed rate increase that we're proposing this summer is to do a few things. First of which, we want to adjust for inflation, sustain and improve our operations, and maintain our infrastructure. A part of that is the Proposition 218 process. That's the reason why we're having this conversation today. Under Prop 218, our government agencies are required to follow specific procedures for notifying our customers when proposing new and increased service charges. I do want to give a little bit more background into Prop 218. It's an initiative passed in the state way back in 1996. It was designed to allow greater public involvement in the rate setting processes for public agencies. It also limits how local governments can raise money through fees. It requires property owners' approval to increase or add new fees through a majority protest. It also requires our government agencies follow specific procedures to notify customers of a proposed rate increase. Lastly, under Prop 218, customers are charged for these services directly through their property tax bill, and customers have a say in the rate increase process. Next slide, please. The purpose of this slide is to give a general breakdown of our financial health here in SMD. The graph on the left shows what the monies received, what we spend them on. 60% of the monies that we receive from our constituents go to our preventative maintenance, whereas 30% of the money received goes to our condition assessment and repair, with the remaining 10% broken down into two different categories. First 5 goes to the 24-hour emergency response, and the last 5% goes to our management and administration. That's our in-office staff. Ideally, we want most of, if not all of the money received to go directly to services that benefit the community. Obviously, our field and office personnel are important, but it's imperative that we maintain transparency by, of course, giving this presentation and by letting our constituents know that our goal is to make sure that they receive the maximum benefit for the fees that they pay on an annual basis. The next slide here shows sorry, can you go back to the previous slide? The graph to the right shows a few different things. The orange line shows our expenditures. This is in the event that no rate increase is imposed this year. So this is going from fiscal year 23-24 all the way to fiscal year 29-30. As you can see, the expenditure line in orange surpasses our expected revenue, which is the solid blue line. The dashed red line is our fund balance. It's steadily decreasing, and if a rate increase isn't put into play in the fiscal year 25-26, will cross into the negative. What that would mean is sewer maintenance would have to make the tough decision to start to cut back on some of the services that we provide for the community. Next slide, please. All right. So a little background for the rates before we get into the numbers. Last year in 2024, Public Works conducted a comprehensive rate study for our sewer maintenance services. So this study was a detailed review of our costs and the rate structure needed to meet these costs to continue providing the reliable sewer maintenance service that we've done throughout the years. The study resulted in this 5-year rate schedule that you're seeing here that will provide sufficient revenue to fund the operations and maintenance of our CSMD system. So Public Works were proposing the following. So to give a little background, back in 2014, the previous rate before it was $50.50 was $36.50. At that point in time, it was increased to $50.50 in 2014. 11 years later, here we are today asking for a similar increase. What that looks like is for the first 3 years, so that's fiscal year 25-26, 26-27, and 27-28, we're asking for a $14 a year increase. And fiscal years 28-29 and 29-30, we're estimating an increase to be in alignment with the consumer price index or inflation, so to speak. For the purposes of this graph, we're estimating that to be around 2%. But of course, as we get closer to those years, if approved, that number can fluctuate some. Next slide, please. Okay, so the purpose of this slide is to show how our current rates are, how they line up with some of the other agencies in the regions. As you can see here, the Consolidated Sewer Maintenance District at $50.50, that breaks down to $4.21 a month. We're the most affordable in the region, especially given the size and the amount of area that we cover. When compared to the city of LA being at $234 a year, we're the best bargain in the region. Next slide, please. All right, so this is pretty much a timeline of how we got here today. I'm going to briefly cover a few points here. Earlier this year, in January 2025, the rate study was finalized, in which we looked at the long-term financial plan for CSMD and developed this much-needed rate structure to keep our system in operation. Earlier this year, in March and April, we initiated our Prop 218 outreach. What that looks like are scheduling presentations like this one today, attending events, hosting open houses, and community meetings. I do want to note here on this particular slide, we have a public hearing that's scheduled for June 24th, which is later this month. In this public hearing, the Board of Supervisors will decide as to whether or not this rate increase will go into effect. And if it does go into effect, the proposed rate increase will begin this year, July 2025. Next slide, please. Our main objective throughout this outreach process is to conduct equitable outreach and engagement that prioritizes our disadvantaged communities and communities most affected by these rate increases. What this looks like is working closely with our community-based organizations, or CBOs for short, to enhance outreach strategies and co-create materials. We also were working on developing digital media, which includes infographic videos and a targeted social media campaign, an educational equity-based Prop 218 outreach that involves the Prop 218 notices that you all should have received at this point, our open houses, community meetings, and our virtual bilingual webinars. Next slide, please. On a previous slide, I talked about some events. As we're here on June 5th, we're actually at the event at the bottom of this table here. But I do want to give everyone an opportunity to see the events that have got us to this point. We've hosted various open houses in different areas of the county, different supervisorial districts, in person, as well as having Zoom webinars like this one. Next slide, please. Um, this is the slide that concludes the presentation. So this slide gives us our phone number if you have any questions about the rate increase itself, or CSMD sewer services or connections, things of that nature. And there's also an email that you can send those inquiries to as well. We've also included an email for the misfortune and calamity form. So for those that have been affected by the January fires, the Palisades and the Eaton fire, there's a form that the assessor has provided, which will, in effect, once filled out, remove the improvement value taxes that you're paying on an annual basis from their roll sheet. What that'll do is decrease your tax base until you get to a point where you rebuild, and at that point you'll be reassessed based on what you build here. So for any questions that surround or relate to that, there's a phone number and an email to reach out. But other than that, I'm going to answer a few questions that come up. Thank you all for your time and consideration this morning.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Very comprehensive and informative, so appreciate you going through all these slides. I think we can open up the Q&A box and see if there's any questions that are coming through. I think we have received about 3 or so I think we can go through some of these. So Jonathan, the first question that we have is, how long will the fee be waived?
The fee is going to be waived until construction is complete at a new residence. So for those that have lost their homes, so the fees are still in place for the individuals who have homes that are still standing that weren't affected by the fires. I do understand that there may be some economic hardships that are involved with returning to your home post-fire. If there's any issues surrounding the ability to repay, please reach out to us. We can evaluate those on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you so much. The second question we have is, how would we go about connecting the sewer line, and who would we reach out to?
Okay, so this question can be handled a few different ways. I might have my colleague chime in on the second of that view. But if the sewer line in question was existing and is existing post-fire, i.e. the residence burned down, we're rebuilding the residence, that residence was already connected to CSMD, i.e. it had a sewer line connection to the main line. In the event that happens and there's questions that are surrounding the lateral, there shouldn't be a need to reestablish that sewer main line connection, but let's say there is, please reach out to us here in sewer maintenance or CSMD at the SMD office email provided, or the 888 sewer line that we provided as well. Now, there's a second option that could happen or could relate to some residents here, where you were previously septic and you have questions surrounding maybe connecting to the sewer line, or how you deal with or reestablish your existing septic service. Those questions could be handled by, if it's septic related specifically and you want to have a question, or it surrounds reestablishing or continuing that line of septic, handling your sewage, that's going to be handled by DPH. We can provide their information. But if you want to transition from septic to sewer, my colleague Yona, if he has an opportunity, he might be able to chime in a little bit better than me and answer that part.
Sure,
Yona, do you have any feedback? Thank you.
Sure. Thanks so much, Jonathan. So we are looking into various neighborhoods that are looking to convert from septic to municipal sewer. It's through a program called County Improvement Districts. And we are currently organizing different neighborhoods throughout the Altadena area that are interested in proceeding with this. So if anyone has questions about that, you can email altadenasewer@dpw.lacounty.gov to find out more information. And even if you have any questions about reusing your existing sewer septic system, you can also email altadenasewer@dpw.lacounty.gov, and we will route that over to public health, who oversees the septic program and options for residents that are currently on septic. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
All right, thank you, Yana. Was there any more questions for us by chance?
Yes, we have one last question that has come to us. The question is, what happens if I have not received a notice from the county assessor's office regarding my damaged property?
Okay, excellent question. So in the event that that happens, you're going to need to fill out an application for reassessment property damage or destroyed by misfortune or calamity. This misfortune and calamity program, it helps our property owners affected by the wildfires and other natural disasters qualify the reassessment at a reduced property value. What that means is that's lowering the property tax bill during the recovery phase. The contact information that's listed on this slide here that you're showing is the best way to get any questions that you have answered that might be a little more in depth than this one, or to see what's going on with the filling out of that particular form, the misfortune and calamity form.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. I left this slide up so people can see who they can contact. If you have any questions that fall outside of the parameters of the Q&A that we've had, please do go ahead and submit them to smdoffice@dpw.lacounty.gov. There's also that phone number below it, and someone will be in touch with you about your question. And I appreciate everyone's time this morning and today to participate in this webinar and for your interest in this program. So thank you so much for your time. And with that, we'll conclude the meeting. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.